It's never a dull day in the world of college football. We've got breaking news in the college football world. We have a new college football playoff. Kinda. We've got a new format for the college football playoff, and it is going to play a major role, not just for this season, but for many years to come. The committee has decided to change to a straight seeding model, meaning that no longer will the top 4 conference champions get a first-round bye. Now it will just be the top 4 teams, period. So you do not have to win your conference championship to get a first-round bye, to be one of those top 4 seeds. Straight seeding model, meaning it is going to be 1 through 12. 1 through 12 is how it'll be ranked. Because, if you watch the playoff shows last year, it kind of got confusing. You see a team ranked at number 10, but their seed in the playoff might be number 7 or something like that, right? No longer. If they're 10, they're 10. If they're 4, they're 4. You don't have to worry about the conference championships really playing a role with how teams will be seeded in this year's college football playoff and more than likely for many years to come. So, in one way, this is going to create a lot less confusion, maybe a little bit. In some ways, it's going to be a good thing. In some ways, people are going to view it as a bad thing. And on the plus side, we're not rewarding weaker conference champions. You look at teams. If you have a conference title game where it's 2 undefeated teams or maybe even just a 1-loss team, the loser of that game is not going to get in the old format would not get a first-round bye. Instead, they might get jumped by somebody who played a weaker strength of schedule, who has a worse record than them, whatever it may be, all because they didn't win the one big conference championship. We talked about that, how some teams out there maybe didn't want to go to the conference championship. It's like, if I go, I'm going to get punished for this. If you were a team that knew you were a playoff lock, even without going to your, SEC title, Big Ten title, they're like, what, forget it. Let's just not go. Let's not risk injury. Let's not risk getting a worse seed. Let's not risk this or that. Let's just stay put and hang back and take our chances. And as we saw, the first teams that got the first round byes this last college football playoff didn't do all that well. So, on the plus side, again, we're not rewarding weak conference champions. So the best of the best are going to be 1 through 4 all the way through 12. But on the other side, we're not rewarding conference champions, right? So let's say you do win your conference championship, but you're not good enough to be a top 4 team. You're not getting that first round bye, right? And here's the thing. You were always going to have someone left out. I think the committee always thought it would be the group of 5 team, right? You get 4 power conferences. We're going to put the one group of 5 team in there. I don't think many of them banked on, in year 1, especially having to give a first-round bye to that group of 5 team like Boise State got as the number 3 seed. So ideally, the top 4 teams would be the top 4 conference champions from the Power 4 conferences, but that clearly wasn't the case this last year. That's clearly not going to be the case again this year. Because if you take a look at what it would have looked like, with the straight seeding model this last season, you see that the top 4 teams are Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Penn State. 2 Big Ten teams, 2 SEC teams. The 2 teams that played in the Big Ten championship, the 2 teams that played in the SEC championship. And both those games were very, very good between 2 very good teams. Neither of them was a blowout. Neither of them showed one team being, significantly better or worse than the other. It wasn't like, Penn State got destroyed by Oregon. It wasn't like Texas got destroyed by Georgia. Those were 2 teams that played great regular season, played a great conference championship game. And if you'd gone with a straight seeding model, those would have been your top 4 teams that would have gotten a first round bye. Now, Oregon and Georgia's seeds didn't change, but Texas would have gone from being the 5 seed to the 3 seed. Penn State would have gone from the 6 seed to the 4 seed. Getting that extra week of rest, we think, is a good thing. Again, that didn't really show to be the case as last year, but you would think typically it would be. So obviously that plays a pretty big role. You go through the rest of the thing. Notre Dame would have gone from the 7 seed to the 5 seed. Ohio State, the national champions, from the 8 seed to the 6 seed. Tennessee from 9 to 7. Indiana from 10 to 8. Boise State and Arizona State would be the 2 teams that got punished in this method, in this thing. Boise State won the Mountain West. They got a first round bye as the 3 seed. From a straight seeding model, they would have fallen all the way down to 9. All the way down to 9. Wouldn't even get to host a first round playoff game. Same for Arizona State. They won the Big 12, would have gone from the 4 seed, which they were last year, all the way down to the 11 seed and would have had to go on the road to Ohio State despite winning the Big 12 and despite Ohio State not even playing in their conference championship. So again, that's maybe one thing people look at and go, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing, some would say. Clemson, of course, would stay put at 12, and SMU would have gone from 11 to 10. That's what it would have looked like under this format last season. So again, Boise State would have been punished, Arizona State would have been punished, and those are going to be the teams that would cry the most, and understandably, that we won our conference championship. We played really good football all year long, and our reward for doing that is having to go on the road as, for Arizona State, a double-digit seed, and for Boise State, a 9 seed. I mean, so that is the con that comes with it, but at the same time, you look at it and you argue Boise State and Arizona State did not have nearly as tough of a strength of schedule, maybe quality of wins and things like that, as did maybe Ohio State, as did Notre Dame, as did Tennessee and the SEC, teams like that. And before they cry about Penn State and Texas getting in despite losing their conference championships, those two teams had, 1-2 losses by that point after their conference championship losses. And again, played much tougher schedules and a much tougher conference and played those games very close. So again, the pros and cons there. The ironic thing too, looking at this, I kind of went through mentally and predicted what the playoff would have looked like with this straight seeding model from last year. Like who would have been in my national championship? And you see the bracket here. Indiana would have played Boise State. I'm probably picking Indiana in that game. It wouldn't have mattered because Oregon's going to beat Boise or Indiana in the next round. Remember, Oregon got the first round bye, got destroyed by Ohio State. In this straight seeding model, they go to the semifinals because I think they do beat the 8-9 winner, unlike they did this last year. Notre Dame would have played Clemson in South Bend, would have been a fantastic matchup, very close game, I think, but I still lean with Notre Dame in that one. They win that game, play Penn State just like they did in the semifinals, and I think Oregon beats Indiana, and we saw Notre Dame beat Penn State. And Penn State choked it away, but I'm not going to say Penn State's going to win now because we literally watched Notre Dame win it. So Notre Dame beats Penn State. Your semifinal on that side is Oregon and Notre Dame. On the other side, Tennessee hosts SMU. I'm picking Tennessee there. Ohio State plays Arizona State and Columbus. I'm picking Ohio State there. Georgia, despite the injuries at quarterback, I think would have defeated Tennessee. Truly, I do. Texas and Ohio State, we saw that in the semifinals. So we're just getting some of those semifinal games in the quarterfinals. Texas and Ohio State. Ohio State beats the Longhorns. So your two semifinal games are Oregon, Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State. I think Oregon actually beats Notre Dame, if you want my honest opinion. I think Oregon would have defeated Notre Dame had those two teams played. So I got Oregon going to the national championship, and I think Ohio State would have beaten Georgia after what we saw in that playoff run. So your national championship is Oregon, Ohio State, and I would be picking Ohio State. And knowing what we know now, maybe not back then, but knowing what we know now, obviously I would pick Ohio State to beat Oregon. So the national championship in our eyes right now would have remained the same. And, what is that? Two of the final four teams would have remained the same, with Notre Dame and Ohio State getting to that point. So again, the seedings change a little bit. Some of the outcomes change a little bit. But maybe not drastic. Now, again, that's knowing what we know now. That's knowing what we've seen from last year. Who knows what's going to happen in 2025? But regardless, it is a massive, massive change. Maybe it's going to create less controversy, although I'm sure for some it's going to create more. We want to hear from you. Let us know about these playoff changes down in the comments below. Is this a good thing for college football? Is it a bad thing for college football? The world is constantly changing in this sport that we love. The playoff is going to continue to change, probably going to expand to 16 teams here in the next few years. So expect more changes, not just from the amount of teams, but the structure. Again, coming up probably in about the next 2 or 3 years, I expect that to happen. So a lot constantly changing. We want to hear from you. To me, I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's a toss-up. I lean more towards it being a good thing. But you can argue it either way, and that's what we want to hear from you. So, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. A big day in the world of college football. It's going to continue to be so all the way until the start of the regular season. Of course, we'll have you covered every step of the way right here on the Gridiron Expert. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe. Check out everything down in the description below. Our newsletters, our website, thegridironexpert.com, our expert picks that are coming your way in just a few months. You do not want to miss out on those. All of that there, so you can become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.